Hey everybody out there, and especially all of you in the vinyl community. If you don't know what the vinyl community is, it's an unofficial conglomerate, love fest of vinyl enthusiasts, record music lovers. There are those of us too that enjoy compact discs, so we're not excluding people who like those too. Again, who knows? I didn't start this. It started over a decade ago. There's some people still around. New people come and go. Some people come in and out over the years. I've been here for a couple years now, and I've really enjoyed it. It's been a great way for me to show my collection through my whack-a-moles, through my features, through my joint collaborations. This is just a video of new records I've gotten, a lot that I pre-ordered literally months ago, and because of the pandemic and because of the lockdown and a lot of other reasons, have taken a long time to arrive. Some were pre-orders as well. Before I start showing the records, let me first say, in the background, I'm playing this comp from Blue Note Records of the great Lee Morgan. Trumpet player, died in his early 30s, 32, 33, 34, I think. There is, I'm not sure if it's on Prime or Netflix or one of those, a documentary on Lee Morgan, and I really strongly suggest that those of you who are interested in jazz, even if you're not, watch this documentary. There's a bit of a tragic ending. I don't want to wreck, I was going to say I don't want to wreck the surprise ending if you don't know what happened to Lee in the end, but a great career. He was saved, and then he died. That's all I'll say. So Lee Morgan on Blue Note. There's some great stuff on Tone Poet like Cooker, of course. Sidewinder is one of the great Blue Note jazz records of all time, or one of their best-selling records by Lee Morgan. Trumpet player Lee Morgan could have gone on to be as famous as Miles Davis, I think, but made great records anyway for Blue Note, and on a lot of great other artists aside from Lee Morgan. So that's in the background. I'm going to start out with shout outs. Now, I don't do a lot of shout outs only because I always feel I'm forgetting people. I've met a lot of great people here in the vinyl community. There's a group of people that I correspond with, semi-regularly. I don't always comment on videos, but I watch a shitload of videos. A lot of them lull me to sleep at night, and that sounds bad because it sounds like I'm bored with them. Not at all. I do continue when I wake up or at different times. And of course, like everyone else, I can't follow every video from every person. But I'm going to do a shout out of 4 new channels to me. Some of these are brand new or relatively new in the last month, 2, 3. I think there's one that's been around longer that I just got into fairly recently. But what I'm packaging these together, and they're so different, but they're to me very minimalist vinyl showcase members. Some specifically a minimalist in his own right, and I'll be interested to see where he goes with his channel. And then a couple just in the way they present their videos, the way they speak. They're not all over the friggin' place like Mazzy here, where they stick in one location or maybe 2 and do their things. And I've been watching their videos anyway, in no particular order. There are 4 of them, and I'll put links below. They're new. Hopefully they'll continue on. Subscribe to them, please. Tell them Mazzy sent you. Just fuck with their heads. I'm kidding. The first one, again in no particular order, is Matt at the Vinyl Minimalist. He's in Hamburg, Germany. Hamburg. I've been there several times because of the Beatle connection and the famous Reeperbahn. But he lives in Hamburg now with his family, and he is in a very minimal, small apartment. I believe he's from the Czech Republic originally. And his whole concept, this is the Vinyl Minimalists. And there we go, get an idea. I love to capture a moment with somebody's mouth wide open. See this behind him? That's his entire Calyx record collection. And his whole concept is he's never going to go beyond that 1/4 cube of Calyx. If he starts crowding it, he'll get rid of records. He gets rid of records that he doesn't listen to. He's totally the opposite of me, which is great. And sometimes his way of explaining things makes sense, and sometimes it makes no sense to me. But that's what's great about it. So, figure it on your own. It'll be interesting to see how he continues with this, and kind of sort of a rotating collection of records that are important. Like, basically, why have records if they're just there taking up shelf space? I totally understand that. I'm way past that period. But I'll put a link below, and that is Vinyl Minimalist. Very minimal. And he's into Blue Note now. That's why he has the Blue Note. Then there's one that's been around a little longer, but I only got into in the last maybe month or two, and that is Martin Jones. Martin Jones, a lot of his music is punk and heavy metal, mostly punk, buys a lot of new reissues. What I love about it, two things. First of all, I love the way he just showcases, like almost like a cooking show. He's got his table there, and his room is split with those two amazing kind of day glow painted color walls, the yellow and the green. I particularly love when he showed this Negative Approach punk record, because look at the colors. It kind of emulates the colors of his room. So there's a certain aesthetic that I love. I love the design aesthetic, the minimalist approach. I love that. I just love how he loves the records. He shows you the colored vinyl, or vinyl is in a punk singles. If you like Vinyl Richie's channel, I think you'll like Martin Jones. So Martin Jones, a lot of punk, a lot of stuff that I had never heard in my entire life. So I've been turned on to the more punk side. Most of you know I love punk, but I'm not into metal as much. But I don't care. I love watching the presentation. But I just like how easygoing he is, and to the point, shows the records, stays on point, stays symmetric to those walls, and fun channel. Then there's a new guy for me, and fairly new, so subscribe to him. Minimalist again, in his own way. I would say he's approaching my age, so we have certain symbiotic connection, maybe. We'll see. Also, he's in the Great Northwest. He's in Portland, Oregon. And that is Mark Wald, the Vinyl Crush. So does he have a crush on vinyl, or are his records packed too tight that they're crushed? He hasn't answered that question. So Mark, explain. And if I missed it in your first intro video, I apologize. But he only has a few videos, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 at the most. He just posted I think this was a contest video where he's showing Super Session. But look at that great tuft, sort of pinkish champagne sofa. Isn't that cool? And that gilded frame of artwork, and nice pillows, nice. I love the design. Of course, I'm a design freak. I like to see people's interiors as neat as they are, or sloppy. I don't care. But I do get a little more attracted to that, the mise-en-scène of the frame on these things. But Mark Wald, someday we'll meet, possibly, because you're just 3 hours from me or so, and my son looks like is moving to Portland, Oregon from San Francisco after all these years. So Mark, again, check out his channel. He's got a very nice, calming way of presenting and showcasing his collection, which is I like. And then lastly, this is a guy that I just got into. We've corresponded. I think we're going to do a video together. And this is Richard. He goes by the name 45 RPM. Now, there's a lot of threads and channels with the name 45, like a 45 record. He's in Dusseldorf, Germany, I believe. And what's interesting about him, his whole thing is about audiophile records. He talks about them carefully. He's into Music Matters Jazz and the Tone Poets, the Electronic Music Company, which are extremely over-the-top expensive, high-end records, as well as other labels that are producing these limited editions, audio productions. I think we're going to do at least one video on this whole concept of reissues, of limited editions, audiophile pressings. Some are 45 RPM, where they split a record over 2 discs. Interesting way of putting it is very methodical. Sometimes he's out in his backyard, sometimes he's in his record room, but that's Richard. I like that whole concept, and he explains to people, if you don't get these records when they come out, you miss them, and then if you kind of want them, they're 2 to 3 times the price. Well, they're expensive to begin with, and I'm not going to get into that right now because when him and I do a collaboration video, we'll discuss that because there's some people that get upset and hostile at these overpriced, expensive records, but when you see the care that goes into them, the limited quantity, you can buy probably 10, 20, 2, 3, 4 new records for the price of one record, or you can buy, maybe $100 bin records, but you get these smelly, filthy records, which are great also, but sometimes maybe you want less is more. Again, the minimalist quality, that record that sounds amazing, and it's system dependent. It depends on your system, and we're not going to get into snooty audiophile high-end systems that you have to play these records. Not everyone hears the difference, and that's fine too. So it's not about, you need to go with this Music Matter jazz pressing or this electronic music pressing, or C is the other one, I think, or Analog Productions, because maybe a Blue Note Tone Poet or a Blue Note 80 or 75 might be fine. Again, it should be just about the music, but Richard and I will do something down the line. So those are the 4 sort of minimalist shout outs I'm going to do right now. And then right after this hump and bump, I'll show you some new music I've acquired. Mea culpa, correction. Richard is not Richard. 45, Dusseldorf, Germany is Michael. I call you Richard Michael. So Michael is the Audiophile vinyl community member. We're going to do a joint video. So I am so sorry. I was looking at the wrong page. It's Michael in Dusseldorf. Sorry. Okay. Before I jump on the new records that I gotta finally open up and talk about 4-way anal touch fight. I think I'm in the second group of vinyl enthusiasts, vinyl community members that have accepted this. There was an early one that goes back a decade probably, and other members of the vinyl community can tell you more about that. This copy originated from Baraka P-Dub, was sent to Bill at the Vinyl Verse, and Bill sent it to me months ago. God, earlier this year, I think, or even the end of last year. I think it was earlier this year. And the whole premise of this, first of all, it's not as wild and weird as I expected it to be. It's electronic, it's industrial, it's a little like hip hop, it's psychedelic, it's a mix. And I'd almost keep this record. I'm not going to keep it. The premise is to forward this on to someone else in the vinyl community, sign it. There's a whole article, there's a whole thing about what it's about. So someone out there is next. I'm going to finally get rid of this. This has been in my possession for way too long. 4-way anal touch fight has turned into 5, 6, 7, 8-way. I think it's the concept more than anything else of this record. So, stand by. This is coming to you. Okay, now to the records. In the background, I'm playing this by Maki Asakawa. This is a comp. Now I showcased this, or at least I mentioned it before. Julius Jabbar showed this with female singers, I believe. This has been in my car. I bought a vinyl and a CD version because when I took my California trip, I had this with me. I love this. This is a comp. It goes back to the 70s, I believe, into night. Kind of loungy, ingenue, minimalist, beautiful. She gets a little more modern as it goes into the 80s and 90s, but just gorgeous record. There's actually a song, Govinda, which I knew really well. Govinda is on the Radha Krishna Temple album produced by George Harrison. It was on Apple Records. So Govinda, if you're a Beatle collector and you have Radha Krishna Temple, listen to that. Really, this is my favorite album that I never knew would be my favorite album in a long time. So Sherv, this is for you. Thank you. Okay, I'm showcasing just new records, no used in this case. The first part of this are more or less new releases, and then it goes into some reissues and things like that. And again, these have been pre-ordered months in advance in many cases. Now, Magnetic Fields, if you don't know 69 Love Songs by Magnetic Fields, which is an amazing box set. I have it, the vinyl's on 10-inch. This came out so far only on 7-inch singles. I'm sure there's a digital version as well, but really? 7-inch singles? Come on, Mr. Merritt. As much as I love it, I don't like flipping that much. So, Stephen Merritt leads the band. But what's nice about this one, it alternates between his vocals, which I love. It's kind of sort of a semi-baritone voice, and the female vocalist, and which really sort of, I think it's that Claudia. Is that Claudia? Claudia Gunson. Anyway. Really great record, funny stuff. He's a really clever writer. He writes all the music. He's a really clever writer, funny, somewhat political. Castles of America, the biggest tits in history, not all politically correct. The Day the Politician Died. Let's see, Bathroom Quickie, we've all been there. Stupid Boyfriend, we've all been there. We've all been, well, no, I don't think I've been a stupid boyfriend. Favorite Bar, Kill a Man a Week. Ooh. Kraftwerk in a Blackout. When She Plays the Toy Piano. I've Got a Date with Jesus. Okay, yeah, I could go on just, I want to join a biker gang. Oh my God. Let's Get Drunk Again and Get Divorced. Anyway, quickies, a lot of short songs. How many? There's 5 or 6 or 7 45s, two-sided, almost like EPs. Really, really great music, and I highly recommend this. But again, 69 Love Songs and Distortion. Distortion's a great album by the Magnetic Fields that has distortion, literally, but very melodic behind the distortion, almost Phil Spector-like. That's a good one. Okay, Wabi Sabi. I bought both of his records. This is Sven Wonder. Sven Wonder, I believe, is Swedish, and I think lives now in Turkey, maybe. These are distributed on his own label, I believe, called Piano Piano. They were put out by Piano Piano in Sweden. However, in the States, they're finally getting some footage and getting some coverage and getting some any kind of edge, because Light in the Attic out of Seattle is distributing these now. This one, they're instrumental records. They're a little bit of a jazzy, trip-hop, loungy, trance. This one has a lot of Middle Eastern feel to it, which is really wonderful instruments. I think he plays most of the instruments, I believe. I'm not quite sure. The English version is called Eastern Flowers. Very minimal packaging, very lovely. This one is called Wabi Sabi and has definitely more of a Japanese influence, some Japanese tonalities and flourishes. Really love this stuff. I mean, you put them on, you might think, oh, I've heard that stuff when that whole trans kind of Buddha bar stuff was happening. Remember the Buddha bar stuff? See, I wasn't born yesterday. I know some of this shit. But I love these records. They're just kind of fun. I had pre-ordered these months ago, and they finally came in last week from Light in the Attic. Wabi Sabi and Eastern Flowers by Sven Wonder, and that's spelled W-U-N-D-E-R. 2 new things also I got, and these were through Yep Rock. I pre-ordered. I'm a big Niccolo fan. I know a lot of you are, or some of you are. What's so funny about Peace, Love, and Understanding? but these. This is an interesting album because one side is Nick Lowe, 6 songs of Nick Lowe. Side 2 is Los Straitjackets, and he's backed by Los Straitjackets. The last concert I saw, I hope it's not the last concert I ever see, but before the lockdown, it was in January or February at the Crocodile in Seattle. I went to see X, and Los Straitjackets opened up. They're kind of a surf rock band, do retro, a lot of covers too, and they wear Mexican wrestling masks. That's their shtick, so you can kind of see from right there. And then it has, but they do a version, instrumental version on side 2 is all Los Straitjacket instrumentals, and they do a version of What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding, which is the song I just mentioned, probably his most famous song. And they do a version of Heart in the City with Nick Lowe on here. And this is an EP. Look at that beautiful cover. Nick Lowe is on side 1, and it's with Los Straitjackets again. I think, I can't remember, now I'm blanking out. Anyway, beautiful cover art. Side 2, Los Straitjackets do an instrumental version of the great song Venus by the Shocking Blue. We all know that song. If you don't, I'm your Venus, I'm your something desire. Anyway, love it, love it. I'm sorry, a text just came in. I hate when there's text. I should remember to put your phone in airplane mode when you're doing these videos. You don't get distracted. Yep Rock, Nick Lowe related. There was a Father's Day sale at Analog Productions, and every once in a while they have their sales. I think they're going to have another one coming up for the upcoming 4th of July holiday. They have 15%, sometimes 20% off. And I picked up more of my mono Beach Boys Analog Productions, Audiophile records. The ones to get obviously are the mono version of Pet Sounds and Surfer Girl. Surfer Girl is an unbelievable sounding record. Analog Productions on sale, so I'm completing somewhat. I'm not going to get all of them, but these 2 are kind of great records. The Beach Boys records, Summer Days and Summer Nights, and All Summer Long. Since we're in summer, even though nobody really knows we're in summer, Analog. But the other one I got from them, is it here? Oh. One of my favorite Peter, Paul, and Mary records is Album 1700. The reason they called it Album 1700 because when this was put out, it was originally put out on Warner Brothers Records, and the catalog number was 1700. So it makes no sense that they're dressed in Roaring Twenties outfit when it's really about 1700s. That's what they should have been in 1700s gear, right? But I'm going to say this right off the bat. This could well be, and this is stereo, audiophile from original master tapes. This could be one of the top 5 best sounding audiophile records in my collection. It's unbelievable, the soundscape on this. I always loved this record, and this was on sale, and I kept putting it off getting it because I think, the Warner Brothers records sound great. I mean, either way, this is a great sounding record. It starts out right out with Rolling Home, which is great, upbeat, really fast song. And who wrote that song? Someone good wrote that song. Well, of course someone good wrote it. Oh, Eric Anderson, the great folk singer, Eric Anderson wrote that. But probably their most overplayed song and most famous song and biggest hit ever, Leaving on a Jet Plane, the John Denver song is on here. Sure, we've heard it way too much, but I hadn't heard it in years. And on this, it was so beautiful. And also on here is Puff the Magic Dragon, which is I'm sorry, no, it's not on here. This is not Puff. Godinva. I'm sorry, I Dig Rock and Roll. I got sidetracked again. I Dig Rock and Roll Music is on here, which is a great song. A song that actually 2 out of the 3 of the members hated. They do parodies of Donovan on there. They do parodies of Mamas and Papas a little bit, and the Beatles too. Great song, pretty big hit. But the song I really love, which is a gorgeous, beautiful song, I remember going to summer camp and hearing it as a folk song, is The Great Mandela. The Wheel of Life. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous folk song. Great folk record, 1967, so it was getting into folk pop a little bit. But again, one of the best sounding records of my collection. Just turn this up and depending on your system or whatever, it's an amazing sounding record. Okay, next we go into, and again, I pre-ordered these a while back there was a Blue Note 30% off sale at their site like 3 months ago. And these hadn't come out yet, so I pre-ordered them. They're BN 80s, so I got these for $17 a piece. And they just came out, and Andrew Hill, this was the big surprise for me. This is a stunningly beautiful record. A little out there, but intimate, unusual, like classical overtones. Great Andrew Hill piano player. Blackfire was one of my favorite tone poets last year. This record is called Smokestack, and I highly recommend this one. If you want something a little different, not the straight ahead jazz, you all know. And what's interesting about it's got 2 bass players, and it's got Richard Davis and Eddie Kahn, Roy Haynes on drums. No horns, and the bass player, one of them quite a bit, plays bowed bass on it, so it gives it a real classical feel. Gorgeous record. Larry Young on organ, the great Larry Young, Into Something with Sam Rivers, Grant Green, and Elvin Jones. And Kenny Dorham, more horn-based. Kenny Dorham on trumpet, Joe Henderson tenor sax, Tommy Flanagan piano, Richard Davis bass, Edward Heath drums. Great cover. Toccata, Trompetta Toccata. That's exactly how it sounds too. One of my favorite artists, you all know, Warren Zevon. This has never been released on vinyl before. Life Will Kill Ya. This is the 3rd to his final album. I was in the house when the house burned down. Life Will Kill Ya. For my next trick, I'll Need a Volunteer. Dirty Little Religion. He does a nice, really nice cover of Back in the High Life Again, the Stevie Winwood song. Really interesting. And of course, 2 songs are very prophetic. This is before he was sick. My shit's fucked up. I went to the doctor. Your doctor says, your shit's fucked up. And he said, my shit's fucked up. Great song. And Don't Let Us Get Sick. You'd think this would be his final record when you think he had an idea that he was sick and dying. But gorgeous record. Anything by Warren Zevon. I'm glad it's on vinyl. Now, I've been trying to get this record. I saw it when it came out, 1,000 copies, Real Gorn Music, end of last year, and I passed on it because the only song I knew when I was a kid, 1966, folk singer from Vallejo, California, Norma Tanega, she had a hit called Walking My Cat Named Dog. It's because she had a New York apartment. She moved to New York for the whole folk scene. Couldn't have a dog in the apartment, so she would walk her cat. And she named a song. That was a hit. She was like a one-hit wonder. So I never got this record. I didn't get it when I saw it locally in my record store. And then I watched the TV show What They Do in the Dark. Is that what it's called? The New Zealand-based show that Jermaine Clement from Jermaine Clement and Takeda, the director who did Jojo Rabbit, and he did, anyway, he directed the original movie version of They Come Out in the Dark. They Only Come Out in the Dark. The TV show is hysterical. It's about these vampires that live in this house. The TV show's version is in Long Island, and it's almost done like The Office, where the cinema verite camera, and it's hysterical. But they use the theme, a song from this album called You're Dead, an incredible song. So I went back to find it, so I couldn't find it. It's kind of hard to get now, and I've seen one on asking $75 on Discogs, but I think Real Gone had some more in, so I scooped it up for about $30, $35. The record is a little inconsistent, really interesting. I'd say it's that period where they're trying to up-produce some of the folk singers, but it's really interesting. Interesting fact about her, in '66, she ended up moving to England, and wrote some songs that were recorded by Dusty Springfield. And in fact, her and Dusty Springfield for 4 or 5 years were partners. And some of her songs were on B-sides of Dusty Springfield songs. And I think once they broke up, she stopped writing for Dusty Springfield. And then, so anyway, interesting. And I'll try to do a little, I'll probably end up with that song if I can on this video. Pacific Breeze Volume 2. Here's Volume 1 that came out last year. An incredible record. This came out on Light in the Attic record. This is Volume 2. It's called Japanese City Pop, AOR, and Boogie, 1972 to 76. This is 76 to 86. Double record sets, beautiful package designs. Some of it's disco, some of it's funk, some of it's groovy boogie music around that period. If you don't like disco, but it's not all straight disco, don't get these. But they're gorgeous records. They're fun, upbeat records. They're kind of summer, you know, a little bit of K-pop maybe in that respect. But love the packaging. Pacific Breeze. You know, they're companion pieces, and they're both real good. And I got these, they just came in the other day, and I pre-ordered this one. I know Baraka P. Dub had told me that they're coming out with a Volume 2, because he was all over this one. The dance fiend of Baraka P. Dub. From dancing to NASA. So, and then of course, I'm gonna end this one segment. There'll be one more segment after this, by the way. Mordecai, the new album by Kuryangbin. Now, this is all over the vinyl community. It's all over YouTube. It's all over Instagram. Everyone's showcasing the records. It's sort of the album du jour that came out in the last 2 weeks. Everyone has it, and it's selling out. This, I believe, is a pink, clear version copy. Now, band out of Austin, trio. Their last demo was very instrumental, kind of surfy guitar, a little psychedelic. This one has vocals, not all the way through. It's a little more produced, a little more modern, a little more soulful. So it's a different sound. So if you expect the sound from the last album, which is amazing, this is different. Again, it's a little more a fully realized album, which will open them up to a new audience, and might turn some of the older fans like last year or 2 years ago. Beautiful cover, but it's a great album. It's a very kind of sounds like 70s soul a little bit, but a really cool record. So I highly recommend it. At first I was taken back when I first heard it, because it wasn't what I was thinking and expected. But then I thought, you know, a band has to evolve. I hate when fans say, do the same thing over and over again. Fans don't always talk like that. But anyway, recommended, new release, probably the release of the moment, of the minute that everyone's showing, whether they like it or not. But that's it. So there's gonna be one more segment, and then we'll finish this off. I was going to have one more segment on Analog Africa, the great German label of African music reissues and unreleased music. But instead, I'm going to save that for give it its own video. It deserves it. And this is getting long anyway. So I'm going to close out with a folk song. You didn't really think I was going to sing for you, did you? No. Norma Tanega. Take it, Norma.
Don't sing if you want to live long. They have no use for your song. You're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead and out of this world. You'll never